everyone, welcome back to Kidding Around. My name is Melanie Smith and I am so very happy that you are here with me today for another Standout Story. Today we will be reading Eric Carle's The Very Busy Spider, and then we'll also be making our own spider and spider web too. Before we do that though, if you like what you're seeing here and want to follow along with all of Kidding Around's videos, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also below each video click the thumbs up. Of course, if you really like what you're doing here, please make sure to share us with your friends as well. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to our standout story, The Very Busy Spider by Eric Carle. Do you know this book? My guess is even if you don't know this book, you recognize the style of the illustration. Look at the spider. Does it remind you of something else that you know? Does it remind you of a very hungry caterpillar? It probably does, and there's a good reason for that. This spider and the very hungry caterpillar were illustrated by the same person, Eric Carle. He also wrote both of those books as well. He painted all of his illustrations. He actually just painted the paper, and then he cut that paper and designed it and made it into his illustrations in all of his books. It's a distinctive style, and you recognize it in every single book you pick up, even if you don't know that he has written and illustrated that book. So let's get going and let's look at his illustrations and let's read his words as we open up The Very Busy Spider. The Very Busy Spider by Eric Carle. Early one morning, the wind blew a spider across the field. A thin, silky thread trailed from her body. The spider landed on a fence post near a farmyard and began to spin a web with her silky thread. "Nay, nay," said the horse. "Want to go for a ride?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Moo, moo," said the cow. "Want to eat some grass?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Baa, baa," pleaded the sheep. "Want to run in the meadow?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Ma, ma," said the goat. "Want to jump on the rocks?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Oink, oink," grunted the pig. "Want to roll in the mud?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Woof, woof," barked the dog. "Want to chase a cat?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Meow, meow," cried the cat. "Want to take a nap?" The spider didn't answer. She was very busy spinning her web. "Quack, quack," called the duck. "Want to go for a swim?" The spider didn't answer. She had now finished her web. "Cock-a-doodle-doo," crowed the rooster. "Want to catch a pesky fly?" And the spider caught the fly in her web, just like that. "Who, who," asked the owl. "Who built this beautiful web?" The spider didn't answer. She had fallen asleep. It had been a very, very busy day. Isn't that a fun story? Here's a picture that I took several years ago of a spider that we found in our yard. Have you ever watched a spider spin its web? Where I live, we get a lot of spiders right around this time of year. They're big too, and they spin great, big, beautiful, gorgeous works of art all over our plants. It's so fun to watch them. It's so interesting to see how they know exactly where to go and the patterns and the beautiful art that they make as they spin those webs. I hope you get a chance to watch a spider spin a web in the near future. So you get to be a spider today, and you get to spin your very own web, just like the spider in Eric Carle's book. To do that, you will need a few supplies. You will need some yarn, some thumbtacks, a pair of scissors, and then 2 or 3 pieces of foam core board. If you don't know what foam core is, it's really just 2 pieces of paper that surround a thick layer of foam. We're going to be sticking in thumbtacks into this, so that's what will hold your thumbtacks up. If you don't have foam core, you can use 2 or 3 pieces of cardboard just the same. Just make sure that it's about the size of a paper sheet. All right, let's get started. The first thing that we are going to do to make our spider web is we are going to take some thumbtacks and we are going to press them down into our foam core to make some anchor points to wrap our yarn around, which will make our web. The way that I am going to do this is I am going to first put a thumbtack in the center of my paper, and then I am going to base all of my other anchor points off of that center point. So I put one in the center, and then I'm putting 3 thumbtacks on either side of it. I'm also going to do that going left and right too. And maybe I'll put a 4th. No, I think I'll just stick with 3. So I will put 3 thumbtacks on the right and 3 thumbtacks now on the left. I'm also trying to make sure that I'm placing my thumbtacks straight up and down. That will make it the easiest to wrap the yarn around. Okay, so I've got my center, I've got 3 below, 3 above, 3 on the left, and 3 on the right. And now I'm going to make an X through that center with my thumbtacks, and I'm going to place 3 more thumbtacks on each X line. I don't know, what do you call the things that make up an X? They're lines, right? All right, so here I've got my 3rd one here, and now I have 2 more lines on the X to place my 3 thumbtacks on. All right, getting close. This is really kind of fun to stick down these thumbtacks into the foam core. I don't know, there's something kind of satisfying about it. Okay, so I've got my center, I've got my 3 thumbtacks below, above, left, right, and on the X's, on the X lines too. Now I am going to take my yarn, and you can use any color yarn that you want. I'm going to use black because it seems rather spidery, but it is up to you. And then I am going to find the end and I'm going to now tie it onto one of these thumbtacks. The way that I tie it is I make a loop with my yarn, and then I take that little tail and I pull it through the hole that I've just made, the loop that I just made, and then I put that loop over a thumbtack, and there I go, it's tied. Now I am going to take my yarn and I am going to wrap around each thumbtack on the outside. This takes a little bit of practice and a little bit, you have to get the tension right from your yarn. But you know what, if you miss one, or if it pops off, you can just go back and redo it. It's no big deal. Okay, so as you can see, I went around the outside. Now I am going to go to the inside of my web, and I'm going to follow the lines that I just made using my thumbtacks. So now I'm going to start on the X, and here I am just wrapping around and going to the next, wrapping around and going to the next. Now I'm at the outside, or the other point of my line. I am going to pick a direction, follow along on the outside of the web, and then I'm going to go to the next thumbtack and then find that line and follow it. And so I followed it down. All right, so now I've made my 2 lines. So now I'm going to go to the next thumbtack on the outside, and then I'm going to do the same thing, finding the next line that I can trace along on the thumbtacks. And I'm having a little bit of problem with my yarn because it's not wanting to quite unroll, but that's okay. It happens. I just kind of hold it in place and then try to use my other hand to unroll my yarn if that happens. And there we go. So now I have that line done. So now I'm going to follow along the outside and come down to the next one that needs a line drawn across the web. And draw it this way. Oops, I don't think that one went around the center. So, you see it misses every once in a while. That's okay, just go back and fix it. Okay, so now I have all of my lines drawn. So now I'm going to move to the next layer in, and now I'm going to try to kind of see this web as a circle. And so now I am going to follow this outside line and make one a little bit smaller just inside of it. So now I'm going to go around in a circle following the outer line of the spider web. Okay, and then I am almost back. My yarn doesn't want to roll, so I'll unroll it with the other hand. All right, and there I go. So now I have one more circle to go, and that's this inside circle. So I'm going to come inside and then wrap around each thumbtack in this circle. Oops, that one came off. I just go back and redo it. No biggie, right? All right, and then I've got problems with my yarn again, so with my other hand, I'm unrolling it. And then I come back to where I started, and what do you think? Does that look like a spider web? I think it does. So now I'm going to tie it off. So I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to give myself quite a bit of yarn because it's always easier to work with a little bit of a long tail. And now I'm going to take my yarn and go under this first part of the last circle, and then I am going to then pull that tail that went under through, and just like that, it ties into a knot. If you need some help with that, I bet an adult can help you with that. All right, and then I trimmed my little string, and I'm going to trim the first one, the very first one that I tied off. I see I didn't do that over here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that right now too. Okay, so now we have a beautiful spider web. And you know what I didn't mention at first, and I absolutely should have, was that this foam core is not thick enough so that if you push your thumbtack in, that it won't come out the other side. So make sure when you are sticking your thumbtack in that you are sticking it into at least 2 layers of foam core, and maybe 3. The same goes for cardboard. Just really measure it. You don't want to be moving it along the table and then pick it up to only find out that you've scratched your table. I'm sure your parents, the adults in your house, don't want that either. So 2 or 3 layers of foam core before you start sticking in your thumbtacks, okay? All right, well now we have this beautiful spider web. And guess what? If you didn't want to go in the same pattern that I did, you certainly don't have to. You could have a spider web that kind of goes all over these thumbtacks. I have seen some pretty crazy spider webs in my life. And you know what? They all seem to work. They're still sticky. They still get the bugs for the spider. So it's up to you. You decide. Okay, but this is my spider web, and I think that I want to have a spider in it because I think all webs need an actual spider. So I am going to make a spider now. If you would like to do that, the materials that you need are 2 black poof balls, 1 glue dot, and then 2 black pipe cleaners cut in half each. So that makes 4 half-size pipe cleaners, and that's all. So the first thing that you are going to do is take a glue dot and put it on one of your black poof balls. Then you're going to take your other black poof ball and push it right up against that glue dot. So you're sticking the 2 together. Spiders have 2 segments of their bodies, and these are the 2 segments that you're making. And because it's not a spider yet, you can really squish it to make sure that that glue dot sticks to both sides. All right, so then when you're done, you've got this. And then you're going to take these 4 half pipe cleaners and you're going to wrap them around your spider body to make them into 8 legs, because all spiders have 8 legs. So if you just cross your black pipe cleaner once between the 2 black poof balls, you will end up with 2 legs, 1 on each side. So now you have 2 legs, so then you're going to take another pipe cleaner and do the same thing. Cross it once in the middle between the 2 spider segments, and now you've got 4 legs. And then you're going to do that again. You want to move relatively gently because the glue dot isn't going to stay completely stuck if you're really hard on it and you pull those pipe cleaners super tight. You don't need to pull them tightly. You can just, be gentle and just, kind of snug them in, but you don't have to pull very tightly. All right, now I'm taking my last pipe cleaner and wrapping it around the 2 segments of the spider body, which now gives me my 8 legs. So then I'm going to decide if I want my spider to be up or down. It's up to you, whatever you think looks more spider-like. So I've decided to flip it over so those crosses of the pipe cleaner are on the underbody. But you know what, if you want those crosses on the top, your spider will have your crosses on the top. And now I am just gently shaping the legs to kind of look like a spider, more a little bit spider-like, and you have the world's easiest spider right there. And then you can place it in your web. And what's really cool, because that yarn comes up a little bit from the foam core, you can just kind of tuck it down underneath, and you don't even need glue to stick your spider in its spider web. And then if you decide later that the spider should be in another place, you can just move it. Isn't that fun? I would love to see pictures of your spiders and your spider webs. Please ask an adult to post those on our Facebook page. Well, I hope that you have had fun today learning a little bit about spiders, making your own spider and spider web, and also reading Eric Carle's Very Busy Spider. I know that I have had a blast. If you like these lessons and want to do more, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as well. Well, that's it for another Standout Story. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so much for kidding around with me. I will see you next time.